3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Well, just in the last hour, this crowd has quadrupled, moving from just about 100 people to about 3 times that size. I know it's not quadruple, but definitely much bigger than it was just a few minutes ago. People are here in front of a building that's owned by the financial services company Credit Suisse. It is the current location for the 17th Annual Aerospace and Defense Financing Conference. This is where some of the nation's top aerospace and defense companies, some 30 of them represented here, are meeting with Wall Street companies to talk about their investments for the next planning phase, which is usually anywhere between 2 years and 5 years in terms of investing for these companies, which are now faced with the prospect of essentially redefining and renegotiating their position with the U.S. government in terms of how much money the U.S. government spends to buy their wares, whether it's bombs, electronics equipment, satellite equipment, you name it, munitions of all kinds are being discussed in terms of what kind of strategic planning is going to take place in terms of what kind of money they hope to get and what kind of growth they hope to see over the next decade. Because of the U.S. deficit problem, automatic spending cuts have gone into place. That's cutting some $500 billion from the U.S. military. And that, of course, is a cause for concern for many of these companies because it is like watching a large pie turn into a medium-sized one. And now these companies that have earned their fair share of that $1 trillion that's been spent in U.S. foreign wars in Afghanistan and Iraq will now have to fight for much smaller financial allocations, as both the politicians and the voters are quite focused on keeping spending and cutting spending and reducing the deficit in light of the economic crisis that this country now faces. Just in terms of what this conference represents today as what it might have represented during a year ago at the 16th annual conference, there is a peace movement in the United States, but it's probably safe to say that without the Occupy Wall Street movement that started in this country a little bit more than 2 months ago, a coalition of people in front of this building was probably not going to be something that you would have expected. But it is an example of what kind of a landmark the Occupy Wall Street movement has had with regards to these various causes moving forward. Tomorrow is going to be a demonstration on economic justice. You know, from when the Occupy Wall Street protest occupied Zuccotti Park, we talked so long and so much about how much these varying interests all seem to sort of coalesce together. Well, now that they're not in the park, they can now basically take their protests to the street, to the locations of these various interests. Today, it's war profiteering, which has also been always been a central part of the Occupy Wall Street movement, because many of the people here complain the U.S. government could have spent that $1 trillion in war money on better opportunities, and certainly on their own people. Yeah, much better.